Ever since Amouage's men's signature line took a huge beeline away from their bread and butter, what put their name on the map, the silver frankincense base of their fragrances, they're now more known. They really did a huge U-turn and went into a whole different artistic category with a lot of their fragrances. And I'm talking about a lot of their recent releases are going more fern-like, more earthy, green, earthier, utilizing rare florals, very unique notes or underutilized notes in the men's game. The one thing I truly appreciate from the house of Amouage is this kind of puts them more unique and artistic as a brand. When everybody else is going more darker, and I feel like Amouage took like that dip when more well-known niche brands and of course designer brands started going darker. They started utilizing ouds, started utilizing myrrh in their fragrances, and of course frankincense. Amouage just started going, okay, let's go somewhere else in a different direction and stray away from what is popular at the moment. So this one right here, Figment Man, like what I said in the introduction, they're going greener and earthier. Yeah, they are. With this one, they really are, especially in that introduction, Figment Man. There's a reason why there's not that many fragrance reviews on this, because of price tag and how unique and different this one is. Fragrance family, welcome to Pop the Cherry. This is where I pop the cork on a fragrance and give you all my first test on skin. I've worn this fragrance right here as my scent of the day today. I'm going to inform you how it went. Good or bad, I'll give you everything that I got from this fragrance on this wearing today. As the title suggests, and as you can see in my hand, I am trying out Amouage's Figment Man. So let's take a look under the hood for some stats on this one. Release date was 2017. Now the nose behind this one is All-Star Parfumier Annick Monardo that has done some great designer releases in our game. Now how did I get my hands on Figment Man? This was in one of my Fragrance X hauls. So first and foremost, I want to thank my partner in crime, FragranceX.com. You can utilize my code ROBES08, get 15% off on Figment Man if you're interested in purchasing this or anything you put in your cart. Just use that ROBES08 and get 15% off on anything on the website. So this fragrance right here, man, an interesting one. If you guys remember my unboxing and first impression on a piece of paper, this thing was earthy as hell. It was soil, like wet soil. Like I really didn't know what I was gonna get on skin with this one. Now, this smells better on skin than it did on a piece of paper. So word of warning, even for a nose like mine, I was like, what is this introduction? I don't know about this, but I like my earthy fragrances, but this was realistic earth and it was bombarding my nose. So major notes on this one, they're very vague with their notes, and I think there's a good reason for that. So the major notes that I got was earthy tones, because yes, it was very earthy. Animalic notes, because there is some animalic feels to this fragrance, and the vetiver. It was very green, fern-like, earth-like, animalic. There are some uplifting qualities in this fragrance, but very much the theme of this fragrance was really dirt, earth, which is very interesting, and I could see, well, a little artistic at the same time. I could see some people not purchasing this just because of that introduction. Very, very interesting introduction. I want to spray it on paper again just to remind me of it. I am wearing it as my scent of the day today, so I got the Drydown on my arms, but yeah. I think the more my nose is smelling this fragrance, the more I'm getting used to it. Because I remember first putting this on and I was like, holy crap. Now it's getting a little more tame. Some fragrances do that. So let's remind me of this top. So I'm gonna spray the back of my hand here and remind me of the top here. And Figment Man pulls a lot from recent Amouage releases. She's earthy. She really is earthy. Soil. I don't think you really understand. Like, I can't really portray how earthy this is. It just smells like somebody just took my head and just smashed it in some earth, and I'm tasting it. And there's a little bit of compost there, just a little bit. So a little bit of raunch there, but really all it is a lot of damp earth. There's some greenery there, moss, fern-like greenery. It's a little weird, a little weird. It's a little off even for me, a little bit. Damp, wet soil opening, very challenging. The dampness in this fragrance, very intriguing. Patchouli-like perhaps. Mossy, wet fougere, green fougere, wet bark. I know when just looking up this fragrance prior to purchasing, I remember Christopher Chong was quoted as saying that he wanted this fragrance to, the imagery of it was, he wanted to smell of Bhutan. Bhutan was his imagination through this fragrance, and Bhutan, what I'm imagining, what Christopher is imagining would have to be crisp air, yet damp, wet, earthy, green soil while you're walking around that green earthiness, and of course the mountains and the terrain. It really smells like that wet, damp terrain. That's what this fragrance reminds me of, and that's the unique take to this fragrance in the introduction. Now more into the dry down of the heart and the deep dry down of Figment Man. It will develop much easier on your skin within 10 minutes. So you got to give this fragrance time, especially with your first few wearings of this scent. It's going to take you aback a little bit. It has some crispness to it that I didn't pull off when I was smelling it off the strip. I didn't really feel much crispness. It's still earthy. It's very mossy. It stays very much green in my opinion. Very musky, animalic dampness to the fragrance. There's that patchouli and some vetiver in here. Also, the animalic tones in this fragrance, and I know that fellow fragrance reviewer from Fragrance View, Peter, Great Nose, mentioned that they utilized a compound called animalis, which is basically a compound that basically is a base note. So I recall him in a video saying that it was lazy of Amouage to utilize that. And even though there's obviously that's Annick Monardo and Amouage, I would say more Annick than Amouage. But again, as creative director, I guess they're just depending on what they're looking at. If they're looking at the scent as just is, it is a very unique fragrance. It does have like it reminds me of YSL Kuros a little bit. That kind of appeal, the animalic feel. It has a bit of Bracken Man. It steals a little bit of that fern-like feel here with greenness. It gets tamer, more into the dry down. It gets creamier the longer it's on my skin. I felt some sandalwood, obviously some vetiver here. The patchouli, geranium, very green. The scent changed quite a bit on my skin, to be quite honest with you. Through my testing, it's an Amouage through and through, especially with their recent releases. Very green, very interesting. It's got a lot going on for itself. And with a nose like mine that enjoys artistic scents, this one is right up my alley. It's going to be a treat to dissect. I might have to just buy that compound. Animalis, I believe, was what Peter mentioned. So to just familiarize myself with that compound to see what how much of it is in Figment Man. He says a boatload. So I can't wait to try this out. As far as the scent goes, artistically, it's very different from what's being released these days. So it's something that I truly appreciate. So I can't wait to delve into it and give you guys a full-fledged review. Now let's get into the Revolver seasons. The seasons I see myself wearing this fragrance: fall, winter, and spring. The greenness, the earthiness, the dampness. It really just reminds me of those type of seasons. This, I think, will work well when the snow's almost gone and the damp days of spring start coming through. Early fall when the leaves come down. Thinking of compost, thinking of damp earth. That's when Figment is really going to shine. And I'm going to wear this, long sleeve shirt, don't need a coat. maybe like a shirt like this, and maybe just wearing a vest with it, and then going outside. I think this is going to be one of those that I would wear. Day or night, I'm thinking more nighttime scent for this one. Versatility, that's one thing with these type of fragrances. I'm not sure how versatile this is going to be on my skin, to be quite honest with you guys. It's too early, but I'm not seeing much versatility with this one, to be honest. Projection and longevity, let's take a look how the performance went with this one. Projection is where it was very solid. Any Amouage scent, especially wearing it in the small room, and as much as I've worn in the small room, it's engulfing this room, and it may stay for a while. When I first sprayed this, that's what it did to the room. So really, as far as projection goes, very solid, higher than average. Longevity, forget about it. This thing lasts. And my overall thoughts, or my final thoughts before this goes into the vault to be reviewed on my channel. Overall, this scent is artistic to the max, in my opinion. Pulls the recent trend that Amouage is going with the greens, the earthy tones. This will definitely be a love or hate scent. I can see that for anybody out there. More of a hate. I think a bulk of people are going to hate this fragrance or just not think it's worth the money than love. For me personally, it's an interesting scent. I'm still trying to wrap my nose around it. Again, it's fairly early in the journey with this one. But when it hits you hard, especially just starting out smelling this fragrance. You don't really know where this is gonna take you. It does bring you on a journey, and for me, it changed a few times on my skin with these early testings, which for reviewing purposes, I'm gonna have some fun with this one. Amouage always is a lot of fun for me to review. Wear it at your own risk. This is an interesting release from the house of Amouage. So there are my first thoughts on Figment Man from the house of Amouage. I'd love to hear your take on this particular fragrance. If you have smelt it, please comment below. Let us know, good, bad, or the ugly. I'd love to hear your take if you have sniffed this fragrance. If not, I'd love to hear your favorite from the house of Amouage. Comment below and let us know what your favorite fragrance from the house is. If you have enjoyed this content, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe. And if you have subscribed, did you hit the bell yet? Are you part of my notification gang yet? If you haven't already, I am on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All the links are down below, or you can just type in Robes08 and you'll find me on all social media. I also do have a Facebook group called Fragrance Guru Nation. We have 14,900 members strong right now. It's a great Facebook group. It's the largest fragrance group on Facebook right now. Join us today. Now, I'm going to leave you with a few takes from my social media from everybody out there. Thank you so much. That did help me out with, of course, saying what they had to say about this fragrance. There's some good and some bad, and you're going to see that at the tail end of this video. And as always, a greater pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching.